When things in life are hard, what shouldn't we worry about, and how can we stop worrying? This video looks at Marcus Aurelius's way of thinking about not stressing over unimportant things, which can help us stay peaceful and concentrated during tough times. Imagine Marcus Aurelius, who was once the most powerful person in the old world. He didn't care for the fancy pleasures that came with his position. He avoided drinking too much wine and didn't like the violent shows in the Colosseum. His life was all about following a greater purpose, to help people. He thought this was his duty, given to him by luck. He was really focused on his important mission and didn't care about small, unimportant things that didn't match his strong values. Marcus Aurelius handled the big pressures and difficulties of being an emperor well. He stayed calm despite outside chaos, which let him focus on what he thought was his important duty. For Epictetus, this idea meant being truly free. A key idea in Stoicism is knowing what we can and can't control. This thinking tells us that we can control what we do, but almost everything else is out of our hands. Stoicism doesn't mean we should completely pull away from the world, but that we should realize we can't control everything that happens. A lot of our troubles come from worrying about things we can't control. When we stop worrying about these things, they stop having power over us, and we feel more at peace. In Meditations, a reflective work by Marcus Aurelius, he explores the concept of time with a focus on the future. His insights make us reconsider our normal thoughts and worries about what's ahead. This essay looks closely at these ideas, beginning with how we often have a difficult time thinking about the future. The philosopher Seneca wisely noted that our pain is usually caused more by what we think than what's really happening. This means that our worries mostly come from our own thoughts. This is really true when we think about the future. We often imagine endless possibilities, most of which never happen. We usually get caught up trying to prepare for every possible situation, worrying about things we don't know about the future. At times, what we expect actually occurs, but often we're surprised by things we didn't see coming. Imagine a person who has been getting ready for a calm retirement for a long time, and then they suddenly face a serious illness. This kind of uncertainty makes many people constantly afraid, fearing both really good and really bad outcomes. Marcus Aurelius tells us that our fears come from thinking about what could happen in the future, not from what's happening now. He says that it's not the future that troubles us, but our thoughts about it right now. The funny thing is, when the future finally comes, it turns into the present, and our past worries don't matter anymore. Aurelius suggests we think about the future differently. He says, "Don't worry about the future. You can face it with the same logic you use to handle today." This idea is a big part of Stoicism. If we can deal with what's happening now, we can handle what comes later. Aurelius focused on living in the moment, knowing it was something he could manage. If we can get through today, we can get through tomorrow too. This way of thinking is about loving what life brings and believing in our strength to keep going. Don't miss our upcoming segment that will make you think about Marcus Aurelius's views on the past and its tricky nature. It could alter how you view your life. To summarize, Aurelius shows us that focusing too much on the future can ruin our present. The important lesson is to pay attention to the present, trust in our ability to deal with the future, and welcome life's journey with acceptance and courage. This helps us let go of the pointless stress of worrying over a future that's really just in our heads until it turns into our current situation. If this idea of worrying less when life is hard makes sense to you, then you're on your way to being great at Stoicism and staying tough during hard times. Show your commitment to this powerful attitude by leaving a comment, Stoic mindset for the win. Your participation is key to making our community wiser and stronger. And there's more great content ahead. Stay tuned for more wisdom and encouragement. The past is gone. This is a special way to look at the past, and it can really make us think today. Marcus Aurelius saw that life is short and quickly becomes part of history, which we can't hold on to. Just like the future, we can't change the past. It's like a book that's already been written, and we can't change what's in it. Marcus wisely said, "Keep in mind that a person only lives in the now. In this brief moment, everything else in their life is either already over or hasn't happened yet." This shows us how short-lived our lives are, existing only in the small space of the present, while the huge areas of the past and future are out of our hands. Even though we can't change it, we often worry too much about the past, which we can't go back to or change. Aurelius thought the past is almost like nothing now and doesn't matter anymore. It's not that the past doesn't affect us now or teach us things, but thinking too much about it doesn't help us. Our memories aren't perfect and can make us see the past in a wrong way. We keep thinking about what happened and the hurt it caused, but this doesn't do any good. Wishing we had done things differently in the past is like wishing for something that can never happen, because the past is always out of reach. Marcus tells us to try a new way, not to focus on past events, but on how we react to them. We can't change what happened, but we can choose how we respond. He suggests we see past difficulties not as bad luck, but as chances to grow stronger. It's good this happened, and I'm okay after it, not upset by now or scared of later, he said. He wants us to think again about what we call bad luck and question if something that doesn't go against human nature is really bad luck. Aurelius also thought the past was important in some ways. He felt we could learn from how things happen over and over again, like how events go up and down. This helps us get ready for what's coming next. His view of the past isn't about sticking to what's already happened, but learning from it to make our now and future better. Basically, Aurelius says we should live in the now, use what we learn from the past, and meet the future with the knowledge we get from both. Thinking about your own life, can you remember a time when focusing on how you reacted to something in the past, instead of the event itself, really changed things for you? Remember, the present is the only thing we truly have. Marcus Aurelius knew that life is short and quickly becomes just a part of history that we can't hold on to. Like the future, the past is something we can't change. It's a finished book, and no matter how much we want to, we can't go back and change it. His lessons tell us to concentrate on the present, where we can actually make changes. But Aurelius knew that even when we let go of the past and worry less about the future, we still sometimes focus on things that aren't important right now. Being unhappy with how things are happening in life can make us feel many bad emotions, from getting angry to feeling really sad. Aurelius said that getting upset by how life is always changing and unpredictable doesn't help. We can't change what happens outside, but we can choose how we react to it. Next, we'll explore Marcus Aurelius's thoughts on accepting that life always changes. Learn how this Stoic way of thinking can change how you see change and being strong. Don't miss this eye-opening viewpoint. In this part, Aurelius warned about struggling against things that are meant to be or can't be avoided. He compared people who fight against fate to pigs making noise against something they can't stop. He tells us that there are lots of things in life we can't control: wars, natural disasters, getting older, how others feel about us, and just the basic unfair things about life. We use a lot of effort trying to fight things we can't change, and this turns the present into a jail we create ourselves. Aurelius thinks we can decide on our actions, beliefs, and how we respond to things. These are things we can control. He saw following what nature wants as the right path, preferring to accept things rather than fight or feel sad. In his thoughts, Aurelius encourages focusing on our current things rather than missing what we don't have, and to value what we have without getting too attached to them. It's not easy to accept what's happening now, especially when things are really tough. However, Aurelius sees difficult times not as a cause for giving up, but as a chance to show our good qualities and put Stoic thinking into action. According to Stoicism, what's important in life isn't our luck with outside situations, which come and go and aren't under our control, but how we handle and react to these situations. In short, Aurelius shows us that the here and now is where we can make a difference, and we should concentrate our energy and attention here. What we need to do is welcome the present, accept how nature works, and pay attention to the choices we make and our responses, aiming to be full of goodness during hard times. It's not the things that happen to us that decide our life story, but how we respond to them. Knowing that life is always changing was very important in Marcus Aurelius's way of thinking. He often thought about how everything in the universe is always changing and nothing stays the same. Aurelius really believed that worrying about changes that are going to happen anyway is useless and goes against the way nature works. He beautifully said, "Everything disappears into history and soon gets forgotten." This deep thought shows he believed that all things, even pain, don't last forever. By accepting that nothing lasts forever, Aurelius learned to deal with life's ups and downs more calmly and without holding on too tightly. Knowing that the problems we have now are just short moments in the big picture can make us feel freer. But this doesn't mean we stop caring or doing things. Instead, it helps us focus on what's really important, what we do and how we react right now. If we take a step back from the constant changes happening around us and put our energy into what we choose and do now, we start moving in sync with life's natural flow. This harmony not only makes us feel less upset, but also makes us stronger and more adaptable. Understanding and accepting that everything, like our position, things we own, our relationships, and even life itself, doesn't last forever, actually gives us strength. This way of thinking helps us live better in the now, dealing with every moment carefully and calmly. The Stoic way of handling change isn't about fighting it, but more about going along with it, changing as needed, and keeping calm inside no matter what's happening outside. At its core, getting comfortable with change means realizing that we can't manage every part of life as it constantly shifts, but we can manage how we respond. This creates a feeling of calm acceptance and tough endurance. Do you have a story about a time when being okay with something not lasting helped you deal with it? How did accepting this change your actions and thoughts in that situation? Later in this video, we'll explore Marcus Aurelius's thoughts on how control is often just an illusion. This part of the video will challenge how you think about power and staying strong. Don't miss this eye-opening view. Marcus Aurelius spent a lot of time thinking about control, or more specifically, how we often think we have control when we don't. He realized that much of our unhappiness and stress comes from trying to control things that just can't be controlled. Through his deep thinking, he highlighted how important it is to know the difference between what we can change and what we can't. In his thoughtful writings, he wrote a strong message: "You can control your thoughts, not what happens around you. Understand this, and you'll become stronger." This important Stoic idea tells us to stop focusing on things we can't predict or control outside, and instead concentrate on how we react and respond inside. Going deeper into this way of thinking, we see that our real strength isn't in changing things we can't control, but in managing how we think, feel, and decide inside ourselves. It's about recognizing and being okay with what we can't change, which frees us from the pointless pain of trying to control things we just can't. This shift in how we see things is not just a different viewpoint, it's a new way to approach life. It leads to a life where we have inner calmness and strength because we learn to deal with challenges in a thoughtful and balanced way. We grow a sense of calm, replacing anger and sadness with understanding and steadiness. In short, Aurelius teaches us that even though we can't control all the things that happen in life, we have complete control over our thoughts and feelings. This understanding is the secret to having peace and strength inside. By focusing on what's going on inside us and how we respond to things outside, we can deal with life's surprises well. This Stoic method doesn't give us the power to change the world, but to change how we experience it, turning hard times into chances for personal growth and better self-control. The value of a simple life. Marcus Aurelius thought that our lives get more complicated and heavier when we want too much stuff or crave a lot of material things. He lived and suggested a life that focuses on basic needs instead of fancy wishes. His Stoic way of life is about not caring so much about having lots of things, but about growing good qualities inside us. He said, "To be happy, you don't need much. It's all about how you think and what's inside you." This is a strong message to think again about what's important to us and rely less on having a lot of stuff. By choosing a simple life, we can reduce the upset feelings we get from not having what we want or always wanting more. Living this way leads to a calm and happy life, where we feel good, not because of things we get, but because of how we think. Aurelius's idea shows us it's important to be happy with what we have. It reminds us to focus on what's really necessary, appreciate what we own, and stop always trying to get more. This way, we find real joy and happiness not in stuff, but in our own thoughts and a simpler life. Let's adopt this value of living simply, knowing that a joyful and rewarding life depends more on how we see things and less on what we own. Don't miss our next part about how Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic leader, dealt with tough times calmly. His way of handling difficulties could change the way you handle yours. Do you have a story about when choosing a simpler life and not focusing so much on stuff you own made you feel more content and fulfilled? How did this change match up with your inner feelings and general happiness? Marcus Aurelius was emperor during many difficult times, including battles, sicknesses, and his own sad losses. Through all this, he stayed true to his Stoic ways, especially believing in staying calm in the face of trouble. He believed in handling life's challenges, not with big emotions, but with steadiness. He once said, "The best way to get back at someone who hurt you is to not be like them." His words encourage us to not respond to problems with negative emotions, but to keep our good character. Stoicism sees tough times as chances to develop good qualities like patience, bravery, and toughness. Seen this way, every hard time helps make our character stronger, letting us handle life's certain pains with meaning and calm. Aurelius's lessons tell us to accept hard times as a normal part of life, reacting not with anger or sadness, but with thoughtful and sensible actions. This Stoic way of dealing with problems helps us get through life's rough spots with pride and come out not just okay, but better and more honorable. Basically, Aurelius's thinking asks us to view tough times not as something bad for our lives, but as a chance to grow and become better people. By staying calm and balanced when things are hard, we can turn our difficult experiences into chances to improve ourselves, showing the good qualities that Stoicism values. This idea isn't just about getting through pain, but about using it to help us become stronger, more ethical, and tougher people, leading to a life where we handle pressure with grace. Marcus Aurelius's wisdom extends beyond just dealing with the past and future. It also encompasses how we interact with others in our daily lives. In one of his writings, he says, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This statement encapsulates a key aspect of Stoic philosophy, the importance of self-discipline and the value of understanding in our interactions. In life, we often face conflicts and disagreements with others. These situations can be sources of stress and worry, leading to negative emotions like anger or resentment. However, Aurelius advises us to approach these moments with tolerance and patience. By understanding that others, like us, are fallible and driven by their own perspectives and experiences, we can cultivate a sense of empathy and patience in our interactions. This approach doesn't mean that we should be passive or ignore wrongdoing. Instead, Aurelius encourages us to be strict with ourselves, holding ourselves to high standards of behavior and thought. This self-discipline is crucial in Stoicism. It means constantly examining our own actions and thoughts, ensuring that they align with our values and the virtues we strive to embody. By being strict with ourselves, we become better equipped to handle life's challenges and interact with others in a meaningful and positive way. Furthermore, Marcus Aurelius's teachings emphasize the importance of community and our responsibilities towards it. He believed that we are all part of a larger whole and that our actions should contribute positively to the community. This belief is rooted in the Stoic concept of sympatheia, the interconnectedness of all things in the universe. By recognizing our role in the larger scheme of things, we can act with greater purpose and contribute to the common good. In practice, this means being mindful of how our actions affect others and striving to be constructive members of our communities. Whether it's by helping a neighbor, volunteering for a cause, or simply being kind and considerate in our daily interactions, Aurelius's teachings remind us that our actions have a wider impact and that we have a responsibility to make that impact positive. To sum up, from what we've learned from Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism is all about living in the present, understanding that nothing lasts forever, and facing tough times with a cool and steady mind. This way of thinking shows us the importance of a simple life and the goodness of paying attention to what we can actually control. Remember, living a good and peaceful life isn't just an idea. It's a real way to deal with life's complicated parts. If you like these unchanging Stoic ideas and want to learn more about philosophy and making yourself better, please hit like on this video and share it with people who might find it helpful. Remember to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you won't miss our new videos. Your interaction and support motivate us to keep creating useful videos for you. Until next time.